So as I told you, like today's session is related to DevOps. Okay, so this is like introduction of DevOps. What exactly DevOps means and what are the different concepts that are used in DevOps we'll be discussing today. Okay, so this is totally just 1 second, guys. So let us understand what exactly is DevOps and where did this term come from. Okay, and what are the different concepts or from where this DevOps evolved, and what exactly is SDLC, and what are the different methodologies that are followed. But before that, we will understand what makes a product, different from others, or what makes a product sellable. So when we are talking about any product, if any product has to be has to compete in the market, it has to be it has to stand number one in the market. There are few parameters that are very much important. The first parameter comes is the price. The second parameter that comes is the quality of the product, and the third parameter that comes is the time that is delivered. Okay, timely delivered delivery, we can say. Okay, so these are the three important factors that we can say that affect sell of a product. If a product wants to be sold out properly, or if the product has to be at number one, the first and foremost thing is the price. Second foremost thing, that it has to be have a high quality, and it should be delivered very very quickly, we can say. It has to be quickly delivered. So these are the three important factors for any product. So lower the price and better the quality, and if it is delivered on a timely basis, then that means that the product can win the market. So this is a very simple concept or very simple funda, which is related to any product that we have seen. Secondly, when we are talking about any product, now especially when we are talking about DevOps, then there are many methods or many processes that are followed by any organization. So why I am talking about this is because even software itself is a product. Okay, so even for software, if any company, if any organization has to stand at the number one position, then they have to focus on the lesser the on they have to focus on optimizing the cost, enhancing the quality, and just focusing on a timely delivery. So this is a very important part, even when we are talking about software. So these are not only related to a product; these are also an organization needs. Okay, so these three important factors are also an organization need. Now, when we are talking about DevOps, so it is specifically related to IT. Okay, so when we are talking about DevOps, it is specifically related to information technology. Then there are many, we can say, there are many methods or there are many processes with which a product is delivered in any IT organization. Now let us just assume of a single banking project. Let us take for an example of ICICI Bank, and let us assume that they are following offline procedures. Okay, so whatever customers are coming to their bank, they are withdrawing cash, or they are transferring the cash, or they are registering with the bank, or they are registering with the SMS charges, or with the ATM, anything, or any registration, or any we can say options that they are opting. So that everything was, let us assume that it was done offline. Now later on, ICICI Bank realized that we need to go online, so that what all customers that we have, they should be able to do all these transactions, not only transferring the money, but also like registering with the ATM, generating ATM pins, or registering for the SMS. So all these things needs to be done through online. So that is what, let's assume that ICICI Bank thought that we want something, we want an application, we want a software wherein our customer, rather than coming offline, rather than physically coming to the bank, they should have a system, they should have an application wherein they can just go online and they can do all these activities which were performed offline. So what ICICI Bank did, they are not now, they are like they are bank. Okay, they don't have any knowledge related to information technology. They don't have any technical knowledge on this. So what these bank do, they go to a company. Okay, so what they do is they want that their application has to be online. So what they do, they go to an IT company. So let us assume the name is ABC IT Services. Let us just assume one name, that is they are going to ABC IT Services, and they are just telling their requirement that, see, we have these applications, we have these services, and we want that all these services needs to be created on an online. Okay, there needs to be, we require an app. Okay, we need a software wherein we can perform all these services online. Just 1 second, guys, just give me a minute. Okay, so ICICI Bank, what it did, it went to ABC IT Services and it told their requirement that we want an application wherein we can perform all these transactions online, and they have also told what are the different options that they have. Okay, they have net banking, they have IMPS, NEFT, SMS, ATM. All these services has to be done online. Now, ABC IT Services, they have expertise. Okay, in creating these applications. So they go through. Then what ABC IT Services tells ICICI Bank that we will take 1 year time. Okay, we will need 1 year to create the product, or let's to create an application. Okay, so for this entire project, we will be taking almost 1 year of time, and we will deliver your product in 1 year of time. Now, after that, what happens is the ABC IT Services, they have many employees, they have many departments, wherein so they have many departments wherein they can just utilize their expertise. Different single organization has different departments, so they will be using their expertise to perform a particular process. So what they do is the first thing what they will do, they will just go to the first, they will go to the development team, and they will tell to write the code. Okay, so first thing is they will go to the development team, and they will tell development team to develop or to write a code which will be as per the requirement of ICICI Bank. Then what development team will do, they will write the code in whatever language they use, and they will send this code to the next team, which is called as a build team. So what exactly, or we can say the next stage happens is what is called as a build stage. So development is wherein the code is written. Build is something that where the code is made executable. So making a code executable means what all languages that are used by the developers, they need to be converted into an executable file. It can either be let's say exe file or .rar file, or jar file or .var file. So these are many we can say files that are created, and whenever we are creating an executable file, that process or that stage is called a build. Okay, that stage itself is called as a build stage. So understand build stages wherein you will be converting all the code and making it executable. So that is what exactly is a build stage. So the later stage that happens is the code, or the code is tested. So the testing is done, whether the code is working fine or not, whether there are any errors. So everything will be done by the testing team. So there will be a testing team which will be doing the testing. Now, if suppose there is some issue that they have come to know that there is some problem with this testing, they will go back to the development team, and they will tell that just uh, just verify this code, and we just need to modify this in code where there are some errors in the code. Just modify them and just build it again. So this is how they will be related. and the moment this code is completely ready, after the testing is completely done, it will be sent to the QA team. QA means quality assurance. Quality team, the code is sent to the quality team. The role of quality team, they have two roles. First is to test whether the website is safe from hackers. Okay, so the first part, their first role is to ensure that the website is safe from hackers. And second thing, that they will ensure that the particular website or particular application is user friendly. Obviously, if the application is not user friendly, then the customers won't use that application. So you may have seen what all applications, banking apps, or any application that you have seen, they are made in such a way that they should be user friendly. Even when we are using phone pay or Google Pay, you may have seen that they have made it so much user friendly that anybody will be able to use these applications. So that is the role of QA team. What they do is they simply just, first of all, they ensure that the website should be safe from hackers. And the second part, what they do is they ensure that the application is user friendly. And if there are any complicated, we can say, if the application is complicated, then what they will do, again they will go back to development team and they will just tell them to modify the required changes. Okay, so after this part is done, the next part comes is installing the software, or we can simply call it as installation. So installation of the software is done. Okay, so first of all, locally they will try to test it. After that, this installation will be done on site. So on site generally means when we go to the customer place, then that is called on site. Okay, so generally people get confused, that they think that on site means going to out of India. So that doesn't mean on site. On-site really means that we need to go to the customer's place, wherever the customer is. If the customer can be in Mumbai, Bangalore, or any other place. If you're going to a customer place and doing the installation stuff, then that is called on-site installation. Okay, so that is called installing this particular software on-site. And after that, the installation of the software and everything, this will be done by the deployment team. Okay, so we have a deployment team. So the next part wherein the installation will be done, this will be done by the deployment team. So deployment team, role of the deployment team is to install the software on site, and if there are any, and they later on, what they will do is they will just do the monitoring, and the maintenance part will be done. Okay, so after that, once the software is installed, the maintenance and monitoring stages will come. Maintenance is we are already aware of. Monitoring is to just check how much amount of CPU is used, how much amount of RAM is getting used, how much of storage is being utilized by that particular application. So it should be optimized, and this is how the monitoring is done. So what they will do is they will check the CPU, RAM, storage, everything will be checked by the monitoring team, and they will just start recording the ones, like if suppose if any transaction is performed, let's say they have performed one NEFT transaction, they will check how much amount of CPU, RAM, and everything is being used for this particular stage, that is the monitoring stage. So you can see there are multiple stages that are being performed once the customer wants any kind of application. After monitoring is done, the next part is customer handover. So the last part is handing over to the customer, and this is what means that the project is completed. So this entire stages that I have explained to you, right from development, developing, build, testing, QA, deployment, maintenance, and monitoring, all these stages needs to be performed in order to deliver a product to the customer. So that product will be an application that we are delivering, a banking app. So right from development to the build to the testing. So there are these are the many stages that are performed in any IT company. So these are the uh, several stages that are that are used, we can say. Okay, so these are the processes that are followed. So you can see that the product has gone through so many processes, and after that, the product, or we can say the project is completed. We can say that the project is completed, and the final handover is done to the customer. Now, what all stages that I have explained it to to you guys, right from development till the handover, these processes are called as software development lifecycle. Okay, so all these processes that you can see over here, all these processes, they come under software development lifecycle. And in short, it is written as SDLC. So what all processes that I have shown it over here, they all come under SDLC or software development lifecycle. So if anybody asks you what are the different software development lifecycle stages, so you can simply put that they start from develop, build, testing, QA, deployment, maintenance, and monitoring. So these are a typical series of processes that are followed. And now talking about SDLC, when we are talking about SDLC, before the introduction of DevOps, there was only one methodology or only one process that was in use. Okay, so when we are talking about SDLC, there was only one single process that was in use. Later on, when DevOps was introduced, this software development lifecycle had two different processes. These are called, you can call it processes or methods or methodologies, whatever you feel like calling, you can call them. So software development lifecycle has two different processes. So the first process is called as a waterfall methodology. So the first process is called as a waterfall methodology. The next process is called as an agile methodology. If you feel methodology is a very long word, you can simply call it as agile method and waterfall method, or simply put agile process and waterfall process. So they are these methodologies or these methods or these processes are typically of two types. One is a waterfall methodology, another is a agile methodology. Now, some of you may be aware of this method, some of you may not be aware of, but still let me just explain you what exactly these methodologies means. So what do you mean by waterfall methodology and what do you mean by agile methodology? So we will first focus on what exactly is a waterfall methodology. So waterfall methodology in general terms is also called as a step-by-step methodology, or you can simply call it as a step-by-step process. Let me just write process so that you guys can easily understand. Waterfall methodology is also called as a step-by-step process. Now, why do we call it as a step-by-step process, and what exactly is this methodology follows? As I told you, let us take an example of ICICI Bank, wherein they want the application from ABC company. Now, when they go to ABC IT company, what ABC told that we will take almost maybe 1 year to deliver your product or deliver your app. So what they did is, first they started with the development. They started with the development, wherein the developers started writing the code. So let's say they took around 2 months to just write the code. So first development was we can say in the development team was working, and the rest of the team was sitting idle. Why? Because they did not have any other work. So the development team started working initially, and after that, the rest of the team were sitting idle. So the developers started developing the code. They started writing the code, and let us assume that they took around 2 months. So for 2 months, the rest of the team were just not doing any work. So this is what the rest of the team was doing. After that, after the development team did their work, the build team started their work, wherein they started building, the product. Okay, they started building. They started creating, converting that code into an executable file or executable. They made it executable. They just converted the code and made it executable. So, while the build team was working, rest of the team, starting from like right from development team and the other teams, they were sitting idle. Now, after that build team completed their job, then the testing team started their work. Okay, they started testing the product, and only testing team was working, rest of the team was sitting idle. After that, what happened? The QA team started working, and they found there was some issues with the quality. Again, they went back to the development team. Again, QA team was sitting idle, and development team started working. So you can see amount of time that it took, and how the rest of the teams are sitting idle while single team is loaded with work. Okay, one single team is loaded with work, and the rest of the departments or rest of the teams are sitting idle. After the QA team did their job, the product, their deployment team came into picture. They deployed the product, they did the maintenance. Okay, our maintenance team was there. They forwarded it to the maintenance team. They did the maintenance. After that, monitoring team came into picture, and later they realized that there was some flaw. While monitoring, they realized that it is consuming lot of lot of storage. It is consuming, or it is consuming a lot of RAM. Again, they went back to the development team and they told that we need some changes to be done in the software. So you can see the customer waited for almost 1 year. Okay, and he had nothing but just a contract. Okay, so that we will give you a product after 1 year. This was the only contract or agreement that they had with them, and still they were waiting for 1 year, almost for 1 year, or even more than 1 year. They were still waiting for the product to be delivered, while this company was working phase by phase, step by step. Each department, like each and one department completes their work. After that, another department came into picture. So you can see this process was followed step by step. That means what? At a single point of time, only one team or one department was working, and the rest of the department was sitting idle. And after that, the load started getting, we can say, started getting forwarded to one department, one after another. So while one team was working, other teams were still not getting any work, or they were just simply sitting idle. You can see this methodology, which is followed. This is called as a step-by-step process, or you can also call it as a waterfall methodology. Now, when we can see this method, when we are seeing this process, you can see there are many limitations that come from this, right? You can see there will be many internal clashes between the team. Now, build team will tell that deployment team did not write the code properly. That is the reason why we are not able to build the product. After that, testing team they will just tell that the build team did not work properly. That is the reason why we are not able to test the product properly. After that, QA team will just put the blame on development team that they did not do the work properly. And later on, deployment team will say that like this product we are not able to deploy properly. There are few issues that we are facing, and again they will put that blame to QA team. You can see there is no internal collaboration between each of these teams, although they are part of a single organization, they are part of a single company, but they don't have an internal collaboration, or they don't have an internal communication within each other. They are not able to communicate or collaborate with each other, although they are part of a single company, single organization. It's like me and my brother, we are not, we are just fighting. Although we are brothers, we are in the same home, but we are still fighting with each other. So that will impact, uh, that will have ultimately impact us. Okay, if the internal teams are only having clashes between them, then ultimately the customer will, not only the customer will suffer, also the company will have a bad impression. So when in the beginning I told you, whenever we are talking about a product, the product not only has to have a less price, it has to have a good quality. Not only that, it needs to be delivered timely. So we are failing on the third part, that we are not able to deliver the product timely. Also we are failing on the second part also. Why? Because we are not giving it a proper quality. And we are also failing on the first part, because since we delayed the project, although we have may have given it at the same price, but we took some more time of, we took some extra time from the customer. So ultimately the customer also, rather than getting the product after 1 year, they got the product after one and a half year. You can see amount of time that we have wasted, and just because of these internal clashes. And also these phase wise, because of this phase wise work, there were rest of the team was sitting idle, and you can see most of the job was done manually. So what all process that I'm explaining you now, this is more of a traditional process, or more of a older process that was followed previously. Okay, before the introduction of Agile, this was the process that was followed previously, few years back. This is how a product or a software was built in IT organization. So you can imagine how much time was getting wasted, how much manual work was there, how phase wise work was happening. There was no internal collaboration between these teams. So there were many limitations that were there in this waterfall methodology. Okay, so waterfall process or step by step process, they had different limitations. They had different, we can say, issues that were there. So that is the reason why later on a group of people, okay, so what they did, they decided that they need to do something wherein they can just improvise this process and just develop a better process than this process. So later on, because of these different, we can say, limitations which occurred from waterfall methodology, agile methodology was introduced. So this methodology was, introduced somewhere around 2012 or 13, and there were a group of, people from different teams. Okay, from there were a few developers, there were a few testers, and there were a few QA guys, there was a few deployment team. They came together and they just designed a process wherein all the limitations that were occurring from this waterfall methodology can be addressed. So the main limitations were, so when we are talking about limitations, I told you the limitation was lack of collaboration. Second, it was more of a phase wise work and manual work. Okay, manual, we can say manual, the job was done manually. Okay, most of the manual work was done. So let me just highlight it as red. So these were the limitations of waterfall methodology, wherein a group of people, they just came together and they just designed a new method, new process, which they named as an agile methodology. You can call it agile methodology, or there is one more, or in a simple way you can also call it as a continuous methodology or continuous process. So just for simple understanding, let me write it as a continuous process. Now the question is, what changes did they do in this waterfall methodology that later on it became as a continuous process? So what all changes did they do? So first thing, when we are talking about these different stages, first of all, agile methodology was introduced by Facebook. So Facebook was the first company which started implementing this agile methodology, and after that many of these organizations, they started implementing this agile methodology. Now what did they do in agile methodology? This, so that they can just address the limitations that were coming from this waterfall methodology. So first was lack of collaboration. So for that, what they did is, rather than just dividing this team in different, we can say, different wherein they are working differently, they planned on doing the collaboration. So first thing that they did is they started with the collaboration. So let me just write the advantages. So what they did, they first focused on collaboration. Now how did they do the collaboration? So for collaboration, what they did it, rather than assigning managers on every team, they just started taking daily meetings. Okay, so for this, to address these issues, what they did is they started taking daily meetings. Okay, daily meetings with all the teams. Okay, or all departments, let me write so that you can understand. So what they did is they started taking daily meeting with all these teams, all these departments. So let me just draw it here. So we have development department, we have development team, then we have build, then we have testing team, then we have QA. Okay, and on the other side we have the deployment team, maintenance team, and the monitoring team. So what agile methodology or what this group of people decided is, rather than making this team work differently, let us assign somebody. Okay, let us assign some leader, or let us assign a person who can just have a daily meeting with all these teams. So he will just tell these teams to have come together on daily basis. Either so starting initially they started with physical meetings only. They used to call agile was more focused on physical meetings rather than online meetings. But later on, because of this COVID and all, these meetings started happening virtually. But initially there was a person who was assigned, who can just collaborate with all these departments, and he can just have a daily meeting. Now this daily meeting in in company, in agile methodology they call it as a scrum, or they call it as a stand up, daily stand up, or they also call it as a sync up. You can either call it as a scrum, you can call it as a stand up, or you can call it as a sync up meeting. So this is what started happening. And what do we do in scrum or stand up or sync up meeting is, this person, he will ask on daily basis to each and every team what you did yesterday and what are you planning to do today. Okay, so what all have you done yesterday and what are you planning to do today. So you can see on daily basis there was somewhere they were getting aligned to their work, and they were having, like we can say, a target, because they understood like every day we have to face a person. Now this person in agile is called as a scrum master. This person, let me just color this person as blue. So this person is called as a scrum master. So scrum master is nothing but he is a person who initiates the scrum or stand up or sync up meeting. The scrum or stand up or sync up, in simple words, it is just a daily meeting. Okay, this is just a daily meeting wherein all the teams meet together and they discuss their work on daily basis. So the first limitation of waterfall methodology, wherein there was lack of collaboration between the different departments. So what they did is they introduced a concept called as a daily meeting, which they named as a scrum, or they also call it as a stand up, or they also call it as a sync up meeting, which was conducted every day. And they assigned a scrum master. Okay, they also call it as a scrum leader or scrum master. He is just a person who will be talking with each and every, not only department but each and every person. Like he will be talking with them, and he will just ask them two things: what have you done yesterday, what are you planning to do today. So using this, the collaboration started happening. Not only that, scrum master had to ensure that if there are any clashes that are happening, let's say testing team says that the product is or that particular application is not working properly, we have faced some issues while testing. Then what the scrum master will tell this testing team: hey, this testing team, just sit with this development team today, okay, and just get these issues resolved by today itself. Or he will just give them a target. Okay, let's say it is taking 1 week time. He will tell, okay, just take 1 week time. He will tell that particular XYZ guy from testing team, whoever has raised that concern to the scrum master, that you go and sit with that ABC guy from the development team, sit with him and get this issue resolved together. Okay. So what he started doing is, not only did he started asking them their daily task, he also started collaborating these persons with each other. So suppose there was some issue with the deployment team, so what he will do, deployment team, he will just tell the QA team, or from the development team, he will just tell, go sit with them, get this issue resolved by so and so date or so and so time. He will ask them So let's say there is some issue with the testing and testing team has raised some concern. He will ask the development team how much time it will take to get this issue resolved. Let's say development team says that we will take 2 days of time to get this issue resolved. Then he will tell testing team, sit with them for 2 days, get this issue resolved. And after that, let's suppose development team has raised some concern and he will ask the QA team how much time it will take. Then QA team will say, okay, we can do this in 1 day. Then he will ask the development team, go sit with them and just get this issue resolved. So what he started doing is he started collaborating each and every team together. So there was more of a collaboration rather than raising or we can say pointing fingers at each other. It was like like he started working as a mother. Okay, so whenever we have clashes with our brothers and sisters, mother comes and she just resolves all the issues. Like that, Scrum Master, you can just call him like a mother. So he will just avoid that there should not be any conflicts internally, and he will just give them a target date. Okay, he will just tell that you have to finish this particular work in so and so time and so date, whatever it is. So you can see rather than having internal we can say clashes, internal collaboration started happening, okay, because of this agile methodology. So the first limitation that was there from waterfall methodology, that was lack of collaboration. In agile, what they did is they started doing collaboration with the use of daily stand-up or daily sync-up meetings. So daily sync-up or daily stand-up meetings were introduced, because of which the inter-department collaboration started happening, and they had to attend this meeting on daily basis. Now second was the phase-wise work. Now as I already explained it here, rather than letting the team development team work, and after that development team completes the work, then the build team will come into picture. Rather than doing it on the phase wise basis, what Scrum Master did, he told to just divide this work and start implementing or start developing the work on a so that each and every team is working on that particular application. So you can see here only development team was working, rest of the team was sitting idle. Here what happened is each and every team were made to work. Now you may be thinking, but we are just developing the product, then how this monitoring team will come into picture? So that I will explain you. What happened is, the third disadvantage was it was more of a manual work. Okay, since it was more of a manual work, there were no tools that were used, so everything was done manually. Later on, what happened is, when Agile was introduced, rather than doing this work manually, automation tool were introduced. So Agile was more of a wherein there was more of an automated work, and to automate these different stages, many tools were introduced. So let's say Git was so developers were told to use Git, wherein they can just store the code centrally, and the rest of the team they can just use the code. So rather than just working for 2 months and giving the code, so development team was told just to keep on putting their code on Git. So what all updates were there, that will keep on updating on daily basis. So they were told to use Git. Okay, so development team was told to use Git. Git was, we can say, used by the development team. Build team was told to use Maven. So Maven is a build tool. I'm just giving an example. There are different other tools also. I'm just giving an example. So Maven tool was it was told by the build team to use Maven, so that you can just simply build it rather than just doing it manually. Testing team was told to use Selenium. Okay, so that the testing can be done. QA team was told to use SonarQube, a tool like SonarQube and all. So there are different other tools. I'm just giving an example. So QA team was told to use SonarQube. Later on, when we came to the deployment end, deployment team was told to use either we have different deployment teams like Ansible, Docker, or Kubernetes we have. So these tools were being given to the deployment team to use these tools and do the deployment. And we have many maintenance tools also, and monitoring tool. They were told to use either CloudWatch from AWS, or we have different other monitoring tools. So let me just write it as CloudWatch, because we are talking about AWS. So they were told to use CloudWatch as a monitoring tool. So you can see the manual process that was there. So whatever manual task was there, was which was happening in waterfall methodology, that was eliminated with the use of different tools. Okay, and with these tools, rather than doing the deployment once in a year, deployment started happening once in 15 days, okay, or let's say once in a month. You can see, because most of the manual work was eliminated with the help of the tools, ultimately the time to deliver the product, or to the time to deliver the software, or the time to deliver the application reduced. So rather than delivering the particular application once in a year, what they did, not only this, not only this Scrum Master did the internal collaboration, he also told in Agile methodology that we should also collaborate with the customer. Okay, so not only were the teams taken into collaboration, even the customer was also taken into collaboration. So this is the customer, he was also kept in a loop. Okay, so he was also kept in a, we can say, collaboration. Even these internal teams also started talking with the customer, they also started having interaction. So they used to, even the development team directly, they used to directly ask the customer what exactly is your requirement, do you want that we need to modify something. Okay, after that testing team, they used to show it to customer, okay, do we need to modify something. So you, even the customer came into picture. Before, like in waterfall methodology, there was no customer in picture. Okay, customers was not in picture, only the sales and marketing team used to know the customer. Now later on, what happened, some people from the customer side also, they started having meetings with these teams once in a while, once in a week, once in a 2 week. So you can see, not only there was internal collaboration, but even the customer was collaborated in this agile methodology. So if there was any changes that customer had in his mind, so after 1 month, customer felt, no, I don't want the application in blue color, I wanted it in orange color, just an example. So he used to just tell this team that just change the color, just change the font style, just change the font size, everything. So on monthly basis, he started giving update. So after 1 year, not only did he get a product, with in a less time, he got a good quality product. Okay, and ultimately the price reduced, because rather than having manual work, most of the tools were used. And you can, manually, like, we need more employees, tools that can be done by, by few employees only. So ultimately the price got reduced, the quality enhanced, and also the time was also reduced to deliver the particular package or particular application. Also, because customer was also kept into collaboration, since customer also always kept on the loop, the quality of the product also enhanced, because the customer always had a mind, no, this should not look like this, it should look like this, just change the color, just change this that. He just changed the style, and he just got the product as he required. Okay, as he required. So you can see, the price got reduced, the quality got enhanced, and the delivery started getting, in less amount of time. Now the the product was getting delivered in some time period. Okay, where there is some time which the product is gets delivered. That time, in generally in agile, there is a time period that has been given to the product. Okay, so that time period wherein the product is delivered is called as a sprint. So sprint is nothing, it is just a time period of around minimum 2 to 4 weeks. It can be either 2 weeks in some companies, or it can be 4 weeks in some companies. So sprint is nothing, the amount of time in which the deployment is happening. Okay, so generally deployment happens in one sprint or two sprints. So in a single sprint, the customer is also collaborated, and the changes are deployed. So you can see, rather than giving the product to a customer after 1 year, we started giving the product in small, we can say, time period. Okay, so first we started giving in IMPS service, then we will give you NEFT service. Okay, later on we will start the SMS service. So rather than waiting for 1 year, the customer started getting the product from, in some days only. So what all changes were there, they were started getting deployed again and again. So rather than the customer waiting for 1 year, he instantly got the product, he instantly got the application, and the updates were later on added. So you may have seen sometimes, you may download an app, and after a few days you may get an update, you may get a notification that you need to update the application. even you have seen WhatsApp or Facebook or any other application that you use in your mobile, you may see that after a few days you will start getting notification that you need to update the app. So that is how the sprint works. Okay, so the after the sprint the changes are deployed, and that is the reason each and every customer gets a notification that you need to update the app. So what all changes are done? So they are done in the sprint. So sprint is nothing. Sprint and Scrum Master and sync up meeting, stand up meeting. It is all related to agile, process. So agile process has all these concepts. We have Scrum Master, we have sync up meeting, we have stand up meeting, we have sprint. So these are all, they look very complicated, but they are very simple concept. Scrum Master is nothing but he is a person who collaborates with the internal team and the customer. Scrum or stand up or sync up meeting is nothing but a daily meeting which is done with all the departments. And sprint is nothing but it is a time period of 2 to 4 weeks. It can either be 2 weeks, or it can be 3 weeks, or it can be 4 weeks. So this is what exactly a sprint means. So as I told you, what all disadvantages were there, what all limitations were there in a waterfall methodology, they were overcame using agile methodology. So using agile, there were internal, not only there was an internal collaboration, but there was also collaboration with the customer. So customer was also getting collaborated. What all changes he had in his mind, he started implementing these changes with the help of this team. Ultimately he started getting a better and better quality of product, and like he's also started getting involved. Now the question comes is, then what exactly is DevOps now? Okay, so let me just take this stages from here, and let me just tell you what exactly DevOps means. So DevOps is, few people say that it is a technology. Few people say it is just some kind of new technology that is introduced. So let me just clear your doubts. DevOps is not a technology. DevOps is just a methodology, or it is just a process which is derived from Agile itself. So what all processes is been followed in Agile, these all processes is called as DevOps. So DevOps is only a methodology. So let me just tell you where exactly DevOps came into picture. So development, so these teams, so right from development to the QA team, these are called as a development team. So okay, these guys are called as a development team, and these guys are called as a operations team. Okay, so you can see these departments are further subdivided into two categories. So we have the development team, wherein we have the developers, we have the build and testers and QAs, and in the operations team we have the deployment team, maintenance and monitoring team. So what DevOps was done is, like, the dev from this development was taken, and the ops from the operation was taken, and both these teams, we can say these these words were merged together to make it as DevOps. So that is the reason it is written like this. So DevOps is nothing, it is just a methodology which is wherein we will just be collaborating with the development team and the operation teams, and we will just do the internal collaboration. We will having the customer collaboration. We will have daily stand-up meeting, daily sync-up meeting. We'll have a scrum master. We'll be making use of different tools, automated tools, and altogether when we are following that process, then it is called as a DevOps. Okay, so DevOps is not a technology. Let me just clear your doubt. DevOps is not at all a technology. DevOps is just a method. It is just a process which is derived from Agile itself. So DevOps itself is a part of Agile methodology which follows these all the fundamentals of Agile. So Agile is somewhere which focuses on more on internal collaboration and customer collaboration and making use of automated tools, and not to work on phase-wise process. Rather than giving the product after 1 year, we are giving the product in phases. Right, after 2 weeks or after 3 weeks, we are continuously releasing this process. We are continuously deploying the, we can say, application. That is wherein the DevOps comes into picture. So DevOps is more on, we can say, it is more of a methodology which is derived from the Agile itself. Now what exactly DevOps guys do? Now the question is, development cannot be replaced by anybody because developers are someone who are aware of the programming knowledge. So you cannot replace the developers, and neither can you replace the testers. But when we talk about the rest of the things, when let's say talking about build or QA, or let's say deployment or maintenance and monitoring, all this can be done by a DevOps engineer. Now if he has a programming knowledge, then we can say then he is the best DevOps engineer. But although the question is, you don't need a programming knowledge if you want to be a DevOps engineer. You really don't need a programming knowledge. But if you have programming knowledge, well and good. Even if you don't have, it's okay. But you can see how many departments and how many teams once this DevOps is replacing. You can see DevOps can do build, they can do QA, they can do deployment, they can do maintenance, they can also do the monitoring. Okay, they can talk from the internal team, they can also talk from the customer side. Everything that they can be done. Now when this DevOps is replacing so many departments, will they be can't they expect more salaries? Yes, that is the reason why DevOps are getting more salaries also. So if you talk about freshers, wherein generally in any IT organization, non-DevOps, if the person has not done DevOps, he generally gets 2 to 3 lakhs per annum as a package. But if he is a DevOps guys, as a fresher you can expect at least 6 to 7 lakhs per annum. Okay, just a starting package, and you just go, just whatever experience that you have, just multiply 6 by 4. Or let's say you have an experience of 2 years, just multiply 6 by 2. You can just expect a 12 lakh package just for an experience of 2 years of experience. You can see the reason why DevOps are getting more salaries is because they have replaced many departments altogether, and they are aware of many tools. As I told you, for build we use Maven, for QA we use SonarQube, for deployment we use Jenkins, and we have Kubernetes, and we have Docker, we have CloudWatch, and there are many more tools wherein we use, and we just follow the DevOps methodologies. Okay, so for DevOps there are few things that are required. Now if you want to learn DevOps, ultimately first thing, let me clarify, there is no need of programming knowledge. But if you have programming knowledge, well and good. Okay, but you will be needing scripting knowledge is required. So for that, I have covered in my syllabus is about shell scripting. So I will be teaching you shell scripting as well. Now some part of AWS is required because we'll be needing cloud. So AWS knowledge is required. Now the question is, why do we use AWS? Why can't we go for Azure or GCP? The answer to this is, see, AWS is something that is used by most of the companies worldwide. Almost 60 to 70% of the companies, they prefer AWS, and since and it has many services which are better than Azure and GCP. And don't go for my word, you can just go Google it, which is the most we can say influential cloud among all these clouds. So 35% of the market share is taken by AWS. So you can out of multiple clouds that are available, the AWS stands at the top. It tops at the it is at the first rank, and that is the reason why even I personally prefer AWS. Although you can learn Azure, GCP as well if required, but AWS will be of more preference to me because it is like something which is more demanding. Many organizations prefer AWS, and that is why some part of AWS is required, and I will be covering this in this course. Although in the syllabus I have only shown EC2, but later on we will be also covering other services like S3 if required, or Route 53. If there are any services, we will be covering. So what all syllabus I have shown you, there will be few more services which will be added extra to the syllabus later on. Okay, now talking about what all content that we have. So as I told you, we don't need any programming knowledge. Okay, you do rather you need a scripting knowledge, so that we will be learning shell scripting. Don't worry, it is very easy. I will teach you from scratch. Now, ultimately, we will be launching servers and we will be using Linux operating system. We won't be using Windows, so you will be thinking, I don't know Linux. It's okay. We will be learning Linux also from scratch. After that, we will be learning Git. Okay, I told you Git is required as a central repository. We will be learning Docker. We will be learning Kubernetes. Then we'll be learning Ansible. We'll be learning Maven. So Maven is something I told you, it is a build tool. For deployment purpose, we'll be using Jenkins, and yeah, for deployment we'll be using Jenkins, and for infrastructure as a code we'll be using Terraform. And after that, after the end of the after all these tools are covered, we will have a live project wherein we will collaborate all these tools together, and we'll have a project wherein we will learn how these different we can say departments are collaborated together, how exactly DevOps works, how all the stages are, they follow a continuous process. I told you Agile is more of a continuous process. How continuous integration and continuous deployment is done, all this part will be covering in that live project. Not only that, in this course we will also have weekly assignments. So I'll be giving you assignments. I'll be giving you notes in PDF. Notes will be given in PDF. Not only that, videos will be shared, but that will be shared privately on YouTube. So videos will be given, recorded videos will be given. Videos will be recorded, and that recorded videos will be shared, and the notes will be given. So what all syllabus that you have seen, similar kind of notes will be given. So I don't share any some raw notes. 1 second. So I'll be sharing proper notes which will be in a proper format or proper formatting, but the notes are somewhere part of the videos. Okay, so I'll be giving minimal notes. So I would rather suggest that you need to watch the videos, you need to attend the sessions. After that only prefer the notes, because they are, I will not be giving all the notes thoroughly. It will be somewhere after I go through the videos only you will be able to follow the notes. So even notes will be provided. Syllabus copy I have already shared, but in case if nobody has shared the syllabus copy, they can just contact the admin and they can just share the syllabus copy. And and we will also have a Q&A session. Not only that, we will have a Q&A session. We will have a Q&A session wherein if you have any questions related to the current video or the current session or the next sessions, that will be answered in the video or like in the modules only. Not only that, we will do the troubleshooting as well. So if there are if you are facing any issues with the installation, configuration of any software, that troubleshooting will be done. I'll be helping you out with that. And understand that what all installation and configuration will be done, that will be done from scratch. So installation and configuration I will do it live, so that you can also follow and you can also understand how to do the installation and configuration. See, because we will be installing many softwares, many packages, and for that we will be needing to install them, we will need to configure them, and all the steps you can just follow, because I'll be doing that from scratch. Okay, so I will do that from scratch. And as I told you, I already have an experience. I'm a senior DevOps engineer. I'm working in EY, so I already have a real-time knowledge. So you will also get a real-time experience. I mean, like exposure. You will get a real-time exposure how this all these tools work, how we can just collaborate all these tools. All that will be done. Not only that, I will also help you out with the interview questions. So I already have the questions that are, I've already gone through many interviews, and I know what all questions are asked in the interviews. So I also know that I can also, while I'm taking the sessions, I will be telling you like this is a part of the interview questions, and I will also be highlighting in the notes, so that also I can help you out with that, with the interview questions. Also I can help you with the resume preparations. So if you are looking for a job and all, and how to prepare your resume, and how to upload it on Naukri, and how to get a call from the from the companies, that also I will guide you. Okay, so all this stuff will be covered in this course. And now the duration of the course, see, I am not a person who just wants to earn some money in some less amount of time. I will take time. Okay, it will take around 3 to 4 months. Okay, there are few institutes we just cover DevOps in 2 months. Sorry, I don't want to do that. I want to cover it thoroughly. I will cover all the tools, what all is required for interview. So I can just assure you that I will just make you interview ready. Okay. Only part is that you have to attend the interview. That is your part. I cannot help you with that because I cannot give your interviews ultimately, obviously. So the duration I will take around 3 to 4 months. Even it may go more than that, max 5 months. But see, understand rather than learning partially, I just want to teach you, thoroughly all the important tools that are required in as per the as per real time what all tools are required. I'll be teaching each and everything, and maybe there are few more points that may be added in the syllabus. So I would rather suggest not to refer, or you can just refer the syllabus, but that is just some part may be added to the syllabus. Nothing will be reduced, but some part may be added to the syllabus. Ultimately it will take some time. Just honestly speaking, it will take time. Okay, this is a very big course. I will be covering each and every services, each and every tool. It will take time. And see, I don't have time during Monday to Friday, so I will be covering these sessions on Saturdays and Sundays around 12 to 2 p.m. Or if you have any other time slots, we can also go it on evenings also. But we can, the timing we can decide, but that will be done only on Saturdays and Sundays, that is around 2 hours. um, so yes, that's it from my side. I think most of the like introduction part I've already covered related to DevOps. But if you have any questions, then you can please ask me. I will just